There's this weird bias against plants as food. Seems to be why God didn't like Cain's offering. We also don't know why or how they knew that God didn't like the offering. In my understanding, if you put it where animals can get to it, and they do get to it, then that means that it's accepted. If that is the correct understanding of how they saw offerings, then this was supposed to have been happening in that same time. So why did they think that the plants were not a good offering? Because animals definitely would have also eaten plants. It doesn't, I don't get it. But sure, whatever. Falls apart, at least for me, in the Cain and Abel story when God is talking to Cain about what his punishment will be, and he says that he's going to be banished, essentially, and Cain says, no, you can't banish me because whoever finds me will surely kill me, which insinuates that,
one, there are many more people than just Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel at this point. And I know Christians will say, well, they didn't tell us all of the children that Adam and Eve had, but that doesn't make any fucking sense because of how many people they do list, and it doesn't make any fucking sense because why are there so many people out there that, one, Cain is talking about them as if he doesn't know them, and they're not in the same family, and also, this is supposed to be the first murder, but murder has happened before because Cain knows that whoever finds him will kill him. So that also means it doesn't make any fucking sense why he wouldn't have, if there were already people who would kill him, meaning they have killed people before, why does Cain not already understand the consequences of what this action will be? And why was Cain the one that was punished
if murder has already been happening? Because they know that it's a thing. If it hadn't happened already, then he wouldn't have known that it was a thing. Shit's not adding up. I definitely had some other thoughts in there, but I rambled so much I fucking forgot them. The mark of Cain was originally protective. That's one of those things that it seems like Christians don't really talk about all that much. I'm sure among many other things, but growing up I never heard of it. I only ever heard of it in Supernatural, and it was definitely a very evil thing, but originally it was protective. And then there is a replacement child, Seth, replacement for Abel, which I'm sure there's plenty of fun there. Now we can finally, and I'm gonna be more consistent with this, especially there's more people following, which will get me more excited about it, blah 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 blah. So the next section, beginning of the flood myth. The biggest things that come up for me in chapters 5 through the beginning of 6 are a lot of the big themes of just confusion and contradiction and hypocrisy that are just very obvious when you're, disconnecting from Christianity or critiquing Christianity or whatever, and that I'm positive are going to come up many more times in this whole adventure. Doesn't fucking make sense. He says I'm going to kill everybody because everybody sucks, except not you. I'm going to kill everybody and restart the whole earth and restart the whole human race, except not you, even though you are the same species and come from the same people as everybody else, and you have the same potential to do the same shit that I'm mad at everybody else for doing. And for some reason, I'm gonna fuck up all the animals too, along with you motherfuckers. Except I'm not, because I want you to save them so that you and them can repopulate the earth. It just doesn't make any sense. But there we go. There's a quick recap of the video that I already filmed because I don't want to fully do the whole thing again. Genesis chapter 6, verses 9 through 22 for this section. Verse 11. I think I said it before, I don't know, but as I'm going through this, I am comparing the New Revised Standard Version, the New King James Version, and the Amplified Bible. And the Amplified Bible is probably gonna... I scared my cat. The Amplified Bible is probably going to be the one that is pissing me off the most, because it is, at least seems so far to be, is the most emotionally manipulative one. I know a lot of my family, I guess, Pentecostals use the Amplified version a lot. A lot of my family is Pentecostal. A lot of what I'm noticing in it is reminiscent of spiritual trauma and shitty programming and all that shit. So, we're on verse 11. I'm gonna be making like a timeline as I go through all this. The biblical timeline in that we see in the Bible, and then the timeline of reality, other cultures that existed along the same timelines, and how they existed in community with each other or not, or whatever, etc., etc. So, verse 11 says, "The population of the earth was corrupt, absolutely depraved, spiritually and morally putrid in God's sight. And the land was filled with violence, desecration, infringement, outrage, assault, and lust for power." One, hello, motherfucker. Look around. We're here again. But I guess it doesn't matter. And we've been here many times before, especially in this fucking country, and it hasn't mattered. But also, I'm fairly certain that what this is actually saying is not just a lust for power in the way that we know it now, but, you know, pagan religions, which were just non-Christian religions, non-Abrahamic religions. As a heathen, and someone who has at least begun a little bit to reconnect with my spiritual roots and what we could have been and what we could have had if this colonialism and imperialism and everything hadn't happened. It just... If we're following the mental gymnastics that Christians have to do to make this timeline make sense, this wants you to think that the descendants of Adam and Eve, leading all the way up to Noah and his generation, strayed from God, and they were out fucking and killing each other all over the place. But so much of this is just, they're worshiping not me, and everybody has to love me, and everybody should want me, and I'm the only one, and everybody else is fake and false and mean and blah. They're talking about my ancestors, and they're talking about what I could have had, what we all could have had, and what we could have been. Obviously, not all of it is good, whatever. There was also killing and all this terrible shit, but the spiritually part makes me very sad. Depraved and putrid. Fuck you. You know? Fuck you. Okay, let's continue. Also, when we're talking about the violence part, in my opinion, and I think this only makes logical sense, the reason that there had been born so much violence is of trauma. Trauma, you know, begets trauma and violence and pain and shitty shit. We don't see it in the biblical timeline, but we know from anthropology, we came from like cavemen and shit, and in the times of cavemen there were fucking cave bears and like just all sorts of things that wanted to eat us, and that is extremely traumatic. As we became more civilized, or whatever you want to call it, and started learning to work together more and use tools and build shelters and whatever. People who came from the generations that had to deal with animals trying to eat them transitioned to raising children in slightly safer situations, like with weapons and to defend themselves and shelter to keep safe. But they were traumatized. It just carries on down the line. And my point here is that God created all that shit, right? All the animals that want to eat stuff, including the people, and also God is all powerful and all knowing. See, this is one of those things, just like in the last section at the beginning, this is just gonna go over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Damn near every fucking thing is gonna go back to, you are all powerful and you are all knowing, but you let this shit happen. And not only did you let the shit happen, if you are all powerful and all knowing and you created everything, then you also created trauma. You also created murder. You also created predators that want to eat humans, that creates trauma, which then creates more trauma. You created murder as a concept. You created, like, all of this shit. So you don't get to then go back and be like, you're all terrible people and I'm gonna kill you all because you suck. No! You did that, motherfucker! These are supposed to be your children. So take care of them. The fuck? Didn't even explain to Cain and Abel what would happen if you hit each other over the head with big rocks. The fuck? I know a lot of this shit is obvious, but I've never read the Bible before. So I'm you know, I've had these thoughts for a long time. But this is the first time I'm actually reading the stories and responding directly. So